Hello, I'm Saremy. Do you remember me? It's been a little over a month since I've done a Friday sews, and I thought I'd just catch up on some cool stuff that I've been working on. So let's see. I think the last time I did a Friday sews, I was in the middle of the utility jacket by Wardrobe by Me, which turned out really awesome. Looks great on my husband. No, I don't have pictures. Sorry about that. I just keep forgetting to take them. It's a little warm here. Um, and then I finished out the menswear month by doing a quarter zip fleece pullover, which was I was trying to make just for experiment reasons, and because I love to challenge myself. I wanted to try and see if I could make it as if it was sewn by Patagonia, as close as possible with just my trusty old single needle machine and maybe my serger. And we had a really good time. Like, I really get into that kind of experimenting. Sewing the sweatshirt really probably took an hour, hour and a half once I figured out the best way to do the zipper collar treatment. That whole experimentation process went so fast. I got so into it. So that was really cool. I really enjoy that kind of thing, and so does my chat. They like that kind of why you would do this, why you wouldn't do this. Well, what if you did this because maybe your machine's kind of doesn't like doing this, alternatives. So I really enjoyed that. It was awesome. And it turned out really great. I really like the way this looks. So after I finished the menswear month in July, that brought me to August. And this month, August, is my 3-year streaming anniversary on YouTube, which is this week actually. It was just on Wednesday. And I also hit 10,000 subscribers. So thank you very, very much for that. That's pretty cool. Nothing really happens. I think I get access to doing YouTube stories, which nobody probably knows even exists. And that's just like Instagram stories, so they disappear after probably 24 hours. So I get access to that eventually, and that's about it. But I do get the satisfaction of knowing that in 3 years, I've built a community of 10,000, and it just has been really such a wonderful year. So thank you, and thanks for that. And for August, I really agonized over what I wanted to stream and sew this month. And then I just was like, you know what, just do what you want to do. This is your month. You do this for free. You're enjoying this. Just do what you want. And so I kicked off the month with a brand new pattern by Decades of Style. She sent me the pattern to test, and I said, well, I'm in the middle of this menswear month. I can't really test that, but I can sew it on my channel if you're okay with that. And she was down for that. So I sewed a pair of shorts as a wearable muslin, and when I did those, I decided to use this method of continuous line drawing to stitch the back pockets. And I made quail. And I got this idea from one of my viewers who does this all the time. And she does these really cool one line of stitching. She'll make a little kid swinging on a swing, like all kinds of things. I had no idea there's this huge world of continuous line drawings living on the internet. Boy, what a rabbit hole. So I did a bunch of quail. It turned out great. Now it's just on my wearable muslin, which I have a rule that I usually just use something. It doesn't need to be perfect. But I kind of wanted some shorts. So, and then for the stream, I made the real pair. The great thing about these Peaks and Valley pants is that they're a pull-on pair of pants, no button closure, no zipper, and you use a stretch woven. So it only needs about 20% stretch, and you can pull on the pants. There's a lot of sizes, and I've done this with the Mountain View pull-ons by Itch to Stitch, and I love those as well. So I highly recommend them. They're not a very high rise as well, so it's, you kind of do need a little bit longer of a top, but it works so good, and they look so sleek. They're not dumpy or frumpy, I should say, like a lot of elasticized pants will be, because you can't even tell. They're very smooth and sleek. Now that fun contrast detail at the hem, and I used this botanical print. Once I tried these on and sewed and finished and took the pictures, I hadn't hemmed mine in the photos. I decided to taper the leg a lot more, and I hemmed them up a little bit. So they look a little bit more proportional to the way the cover of the pattern looks. I love those. I'm definitely can't wait for cooler weather to start wearing them. I've been wearing the shorts like 2 or 3 days in a row. I love those. I'm definitely making some more of those. And I think I might be crossing the line of home sewing and doing that one thing we shouldn't all do. But everyone's been doing it lately, so maybe we should be doing it. I'm going to make a top out of the same fabric as the contrast hems to wear with it. And I'm going to use that Deer and Doe Blue A dress and make a top version of it. I think that would be really cute. And I don't think it's too matchy-matchy. I think it'll all... I'm picturing it looking pretty good. Let's... Fingers crossed, I'll let you know. I've already got it cut it out. I'm committed. I'm going to use snaps, so I like that. That's also a stretch poplin. You don't need stretch for that contrast part. I also think these pants would be really cute just using like tone on tone, so no contrast. I think that'd be really cute. And the hashtag's great. There's a lot of really cute versions right now. And like I said, it comes in lots of sizes. I'm not trying to sell you on it. I just really like that pant. That brings me to the next week in August. So the next 2 weeks in August, I decided to address my huge, somewhat embarrassing pile of things that I don't wear because I don't fit them. Maybe there's something funny with it. Maybe I'm just sick and tired of it. Maybe, I don't know. There's a lot of reasons I just don't wear everything, right? There's just not enough days in the week. And, you know, after a few years, you just sometimes move on from things. And so my goal was to not have a bunch of stuff to donate. I didn't want to have to donate very many of them since the places like that receive things they just can't use so often, and I don't want to assume that my me-mades are going to work for everybody. And, you know, I just thought it'd be more responsible if I kept it at home. So I made a commitment that I would either refashion it into something else. So I made like a top out of a dress and a few other things like that. I think I did 2 or 3 garments like that. I turned some of it back into fabric because they were quilting cottons to begin with, and I had made these 1-yard bias skirts from them, and that's great. So now I have those cute prints back in my stash, or I fixed them. And then I only ended up with 4 things that I'm going to donate. I have a small pile of things that I'm going to copy, because that's what they were in there for. They were patterns I loved, and I really want to make them now with my block that I made from my dress form. And it was such a great week. Like, it probably was, you know, it probably feels a little bit like, oh man, I know I should do that. But at the same time, like, you get to it when you get to it, right? And it felt really great for me to go through that pile and just kind of address it and be honest with some of those things. And one of the funny things that I had in there to deal with was, maybe you don't know me for this, but there's probably a few of you who know me from when I had my old business. And I designed this fabric that looks like knitting, and it was really, really popular. And I sell it on Spoonflower. It's my only fabric that really was a hit. And the others, I just started designing fabrics and uploading them on there, and I'm kind of playing around with it. And I'm not really talking about that because I feel I have a lot to learn about that. But with this knit print, it's been really popular. I've sold lots and lots of it. I still have the swatch of knitting, and it's been kicking around my sewing studio for probably 7 or 8 years. And so it just needs a home, and it needs the love and respect of what it gave to me. So I'm going to show you what I made out of it. All right, so this right here is the swatch of knitting. It was a whole skein of yarn because it was so chunky. This is about all you get. And I took a photograph of this and I turned it into a fabric. It looks very different here than it does printed. And then I also made the version of the back side of it, which is pearls. So if you're a knitter, this is probably pretty corny and funny to you. If you're not, you're probably like, I don't get it. But the back of my pillow is the pearl print. So you can see this is actually fabric that's printed, whereas this is actually knitting. These are actually stitches. This is print. In the camera here, you can tell this isn't real. But in real life, when it's sitting across the room, it's pretty funny because, I don't know, it's just really funny to those of us who know. But it is really nice to be able to finally turn this knit swatch into an actual functional pillow. It's really soft too. And it deserves this place of honor in my studio after all the hundreds of yards of this fabric I've gotten to sell. So, all right. So after my week of refashioning where I dressed like probably, I don't know, I want to say like 30 pieces of clothing. Was it that many? It couldn't have been that many. It was probably 20 pieces of clothing. I addressed another, dirty secret of the sewist studio, and that is fabric scraps. So yes, there's lots of ways we can use fabric scraps, but there's only so many quilts and organizations that are going to take your scraps, and there's still that going into the garbage. And I've generated just probably 1,000 pounds of scraps just since the time I had my factory, so it's something that's weighed on me for a long time. And I think I figured out recently that I've had this one idea. I think I figured out that I've had it for about 12 or 14 years because I know where I was living when I thought of it. And it's to use scrap fabric as mulch in my garden. I mean, why not, right? It's a natural fiber. It should break down. It's been washed. I know there's those concerns of, well, what about the dyes and things like that? But, we wear these things against our skin. We're wearing them out in the world. We're washing them and drying them. I don't feel like that's as big of a concern as maybe throwing it in a landfill and forgetting about it. And it's an experiment. I think it's going to take a long time for any of it to break down as well. The reason I never acted on it is sprinkling fabric scraps out there, if they weren't like small enough pieces, I felt like the chickens were going to just toss them everywhere. If you've ever had chickens, they're pretty invasive with anything in your yard. They inspect everything new and they scratch it and toss it everywhere, and nothing stays where you want it, and everything leaves the bed, any kind of ground cover. So you can't really have it. The other upshot is that they are actually pretty good weeders and bug eating machines. So, but if you want to, like, now I live in this climate where it's very drought prone, and weeds grow here too. This is a great way, if I could mulch things, to keep the weeds down and keep the water in the ground, if I could just keep the scraps mulch there. And so I decided, what if I made like a quilt of some sort? And so I started with cheesecloth. That was a bad idea. And then I just moved to scrap fabric in my bin. So yes, I've used scrap fabric in like dog beds and floor poofs and things like that, but there's a few bad things about that. They're really, really, really heavy. You have to be able to remove the outer to wash it, and getting the interior bag of scraps out of your dog bed or your floor poof, it's quite a feat. And like my floor poof is like probably 60 pounds. You don't just kick it across the room. You break your toe. So my dogs love using it as a step stool. It's that firm and heavy and immovable. So, and I only need so many floor poofs and dog beds, right? And making them with dog beds, you still need to cover or put some padding in there. It's just too lumpy and hard. It's like imagine sleeping on your scraps. It's not a fluffy pile for very long. It tamps down and it's really hard and uncomfortable and uneven, right? And your dog feels that. So putting them in these, I made this kind of a tree skirt type of thing as one of my experiments. Yes, I know they're kind of out there, but I'm telling you, they look pretty great in the yard. I'd hardly noticed them. And my husband said, there's one little bush he's been watering every day because it's kind of new to the yard. I planted it in the spring. He waters it every day. He said, since you put that there, I haven't had to water it. I watered it the first day, and it's been a week, and he hasn't watered it, and it's still moist down there. It cooled off a little bit here, but it's still August in kind of a desert climate, So big win, in my opinion. Now I'm scrounging for scraps. I really want more, and I have ideas to make kind of long rectangular style kinds so that I can kind of mold them in small places. I think it's great, and it's, I'm on a well, so it's going to help us use less water as well. So I'm really into it. Even I don't care how quirky and eccentric it is. It's great. And why not, instead of it going to the landfill, right? So that was my other little August thing. And then this week, I made the Shiroko jumpsuit by Deer and Doe. I also hit 10,000 subscribers, and it was my 3-year streaming anniversary here on YouTube. So it's been kind of a fun week. Hearts Fabric from Santa Cruz sent me the project of the Shiroko jumpsuit, and they let me modify it or do whatever I want to it, and then I sew it and I send it to them, and then they get to keep it, and it hangs up in their shop, and then they can show their customers. They let me make my size, and I barely made any mods. All I did was interface the neckband. I made it 2 inches longer, since that interfacing it decreased the stretch a little bit. And I doubled the waistband just so it had more, oomph to it, kind of more stability to it. Let's see. So when I finished it, it's a wrap, by the way. This is it right here. It's in this Robert Kaufman Wisteria, Victor Wisteria in black on the Hearts website. It's a kind of a lightweight knit. It rolls. That's all the other reason I decided to interface the neckband. And I also starched all the edges, so that was pretty cool. I put that thing on, and I was like, "Oh, this feels really good. Like, this feels good." It's got pleats on the bodice and the shorts, and pockets as well. You can't really see. It's a pretty busy little number. But then I looked at myself in the mirror, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this thing looks really good." I was so embarrassed. I didn't even want to walk outside and take pictures. I was like looking around, making sure no one was out there. I don't know why I was so self-conscious, but it definitely had that kind of VaVaVoom thing going on with it. And even though like it fit good and it felt great, I felt like, whoa, this is nice. So yeah, if you're interested in it, I recommend it 2 hours to sew it, and I was relaxed and chatting. And cutting it out was pretty easy too. 2 yards of fabric. You could have that tonight, like it's a pretty easy, quick sew. I think, now that I've made it, the only things I would probably consider, I'd probably make it just a little bigger so it's not like, it perfectly fit me. It wasn't tight. It's just perfectly fit. It does gape, and it's pretty low cut. So I'd probably consider something there as well. I'd still interface the neckband. I know I decreased the amount of stretch there. It's still stretched on it though, and you can see it when it's laying flat. It's scrunched a little bit there. Maybe some elastic like you do in the Alcott from Cashmerette. Maybe that would be a good plan. I don't know. I would probably look at that. Or maybe wearing something underneath it. Or maybe I just suck it up, Buttercup, and just deal with how it looks, because it looks great. So yeah. So if you are someone who sits a lot, or you're in a wheelchair, you might want a little extra length in the torso. It feels great when you sit down and everything, but I think all day long, you might want a little bit more room, just because, things don't shift as much, because it's like all sewn together, and you might feel it. So I think I would lengthen the torso like an inch or so. Depends on how long your torso is. And I think the shorts get a little short when you're sitting down as well. So that's my feedback there. When I'm wearing them, I had a viewer even say, "Oh, those are short." And I was like, "Really? You think those are short?" And then when I tried them on, I was like, "Oh yeah, they feel short, but they don't look short." So I think it's just your comfort level there, and that's what I would look at. Oops, sorry. So what else about these? I love this. I'm probably going to make myself one. Usually the goal of getting sponsored projects is that I'm not making myself things all the time. But this one, I might have trouble passing this one up. It fits so good. It comes in a pant version too. So yeah, let's see. Oh, I forgot one other stream I did, which was such a blast, because I only ended up streaming for 2 days last week on my topic, which was the mulch mats. I had a free stream on Saturday. I had a viewer send me this really funny video, and she was like, "Check this out." And it was tips and tricks on using a straw in sewing. And I was like, oh. And then I started watching it. I was like, ooh, this is really interesting. And I wanted to try it out. And when I learned that I had this free day, I was like, you know what? I'm going to have everybody send me links to videos with tips and tricks that they've found useful. Maybe they've always wanted to try it. Maybe they want to see if it works. And so that's what I did last Saturday. If you don't watch any of the videos I've talked about all month, I highly recommend this one. It was super fun. And there were some surprises, there were some disappointments, there were definitely some like, okay, well, like people have very strong opinions on how they cut out bias. And I decided to pit two methods against each other because everyone always wants me to do it with the continuous strip of binding, and I just don't do it. It takes way too long. And I proved it. So that's my spoiler there. I proved it. So that was one of them. And then I linked all of the how-to videos they all recommended in my description, so you can kind of go check them out and see. Because the two I was most excited about, one involving a straw and one involving a soda can. So anyway, that was a really fun video, and thanks to everyone who sent me video links, because I will have to do that again because I learned a lot too. I got some really great tips out of it. Now I own a bottle of starch. I've never used starch just because I didn't want to buy a bottle of starch, and now I'm like, I have this huge bottle now. I'm gonna spray it on all my knits that are rolling and other things to kind of help. So yeah, I know everybody's been doing that forever, but I'm just kind of late to the starch game. So so now I have a free stream this week, and I am going to sew the Paddington top that was in a recent Peppermint magazine. It's a free pattern, and I'm using fabric as part of my brand new Minerva ambassadorship. Do I look different? Do I look like a Minerva ambassador? So that's tomorrow. Kind of throwing that stream together. It'll be fun. I'm gonna make it non-buttoning in the back because they say that most people can get it over their head, so I tested it and I can. So I'm just gonna make a pull-on version of that blouse. It's really cute, and I'm gonna use this really great fabric I got from Minerva. Other than all my live streams, since I haven't been doing the Friday sews, I also did 3 how-to videos, dedicated how-to videos. One on how to sew underwear, one on how to sew fold-over elastic, and one on how to sew picot edge elastic using your serger and cover stitch. So if you're interested in using any of that stuff, I've really been getting into it, and I have a few videos for that now because that's kind of what I decided to do. I really like making those. They just take a lot longer to record and edit than a Friday sew, so that's where I've been. And I've also been playing around with YouTube Shorts, which is YouTube's competition for Instagram Reels and TikTok. They have a long way to go, but those are like 1 minute long, and they take me a while to make. Even though they're 1 minute, they still take less than a 20-minute video, of course, but they're really fun, and you can find those like in the very first row of my YouTube video page. So you can check them out. Tell me what you think, or give me some suggestions for them, because like, what can you show in 1 minute? Oh boy, it's not easy. So other than that, personally, y'all know I am really close to the Dixie Fire, like 15 miles away, but it has really been pretty good the last week and a half. It's terrible everywhere else. It's terrible somewhere in California all the time right now. Even though I'm really, really close to this fire, it's been the least impactful one we've had. I'm 10 miles from it right here at my office. I'm very close to it. It's still orange out. You probably can't tell, but it's still orange out. But we've had some blue sky this week, which is awesome. I'm really thankful for that. It's starting to feel like fall here, even though it's not quite time for fall here. But I'll take that. I love the cool evenings. Oh, so pleasurable. I think I was reading The Furies of Calderon by Jim Butcher last we talked. I loved that book. I mean, for fantasy, it was really great. And now I'm listening to one of the Mistborn books. I'm trying to remember which one. I think I'm reading the 4th one, but it might be the 3rd one. I think it's called The Hero of Ages. I'm listening to The Hero of Ages. That's it. And I'm really liking it. It's actually of that series. It's a high fantasy book series, so it does take a bit of brain power to kind of follow and get into it, but it's worth it because the persons and world building is really good. And this book really kind of just a lot happens. So that's been really awesome too. I don't think I've listened to anything else since then, because this one's a really long book. It's only been a month, right? So, and I've been watching your guys' Friday sews that are making them out there, and I'm still enjoying those. And I was really excited to see Frugalissima do the beeswax wraps. I've had all the stuff to do that for a while, and I just haven't. And now I'm like, you know what? I'm doing it. It was great to see her video. So I'm definitely going to do that, maybe for holiday gifts or something. So anyway, what's been going on in your world? What are you sewing? Are you guys getting ready for fall in your neck of your woods, or back to school? I know probably a lot of you are dealing with that right now. My heart goes out to you, but maybe it'll be a good transition. So I hope you're all well. Say hi. Stop by the live stream sometime. Tell me what you're up to. Even if you can't stay for a bit, just pop in. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you maybe again sooner than later. I don't know, I have a few more how-to videos to record, but we'll see. Take care. Bye.